children's tale. We were becoming desperate. We didn't know how to catch the thieving tomcat. He burglarized us every night, and he hid himself during the day so cleverly that none of us could find him. This tomcat had no conscience. He was a vagabond, a bandit. We called him the Burglar. He would steal anything: fish, meat, cream, and bread. One time he even got after a jar of worms that was carefully put away in the shed, thinking no doubt that it contained some tasty tidbit for him. He overturned it and broke it and didn't eat the worms, but the chickens came running and swallowed every one of them. Our plans for fishing were ruined for the day. After that, we spent nearly a month trying to locate the red-furred thief. Some of the village boys tried to help. One day they came to us with news that they'd seen the cat at dawn scampering through the orchards, carrying in its mouth several perch fish. We rushed down to the cellar, and sure enough, 10 fat perch were missing. This was not a petty theft, this was a robbery, and in broad daylight. We vowed to catch that Tom this time and bring him to justice for this banditry. We caught him that very evening. He had snatched a large piece of sausage from the table and climbed into a tree with it. We began to shake the tree. The cat dropped the sausage and it fell on Ruvum's head. The crook looked down at us with wild eyes and hissed threateningly, but nothing could save him. With a dreadful howl, he jumped down from the tree, landed on the ground, and taking off like a kicked football, hid under the house. It was a small house in the corner of a neglected garden. It was cluttered outside and inside with fishing rods, hunting equipment, and sacks of fruit. We used it only for spending the night. The days from dawn till dusk were spent in the shores of the countless lakes fishing. We cooked our catch outdoors on a fire that we built right at the edge of the water. To get to the lakes, we had to tramp down paths through tall, fragrant grass and tall-stem wildflowers. The flowers brushed against us as we passed, leaving us colored with yellow flower dust. We would return in the evening from a day in the hot sun, carrying the reminder of our catch, to hear new stories about the robber. But this evening we caught him. He had squeezed himself into a narrow hole underneath the house. We threw an old fishing net over the hole and waited, but the cat did not come out. He sat there, howling from time to time. An hour passed, 2, 3. It was time to go to bed. But the cat kept howling and whining under the house, and it got on our nerves. We decided to summon Lenka, the son of the village shoemaker. Lenka was famous for his fearlessness and quickness. We assigned him to the task of dragging the cat out from underneath the house. Lenka tied a fish to a long piece of rope and threw it into the hole where the cat was hiding. The cat grabbed the fish in his teeth. Lenka pulled at the rope. The cat held on to the fish. Lenka kept pulling on the rope with the cat and the fish at the end of it. Soon the thief appeared, and Lenka grabbed him and held on to him by the scruff of his neck. For the first time, we had a good look at the animal. He looked like a genuine tomcat, the homeless and uncared-for variety. Ruvum asked thoughtfully, "What do we do with him now?" "Let's give him a good beating," I said. "It won't do any good," Lenka said tersely. "He's had this kind of character from childhood. Try instead to feed him properly, and every day." The cat glared at us, waiting for his fate to be decided. We followed Lenka's advice, dragged the cat into the larder, and gave him a sumptuous supper: fried pork, jellied perch, and cheese pancakes with sour cream. He ate for a whole hour. Then he came out of the larder and sat down on the house steps. Soon he began to wash himself while watching us with suspicious and imprudent eyes. After a thorough cleansing, he sneezed several times and began to rub the side of his head against the wooden step, again and again. This was supposed to express his satisfaction. We thought he would rub the fur right off his head, but finally he stopped, turned on his back, caught his tail between his teeth, chewed on it for a while, spit, stretched out, and fell asleep peacefully, snoring lightly. From that day, the red tomcat lived with us and stopped stealing. One morning, he even performed a noble and unexpected act. A few of our hens got up on the table in the garden and began to peck at some leftover food on the plates. A tomcat came up stealthily and with a frightening battle cry jumped on the table. With a wail of despair, the hens took flight with a long-legged rooster at the head of the retreating squad. The cat pursued the rooster on 3 legs, striking at him with the 4th. Feathers and dust flew in all directions. From that day, the hens were careful not to steal. Whenever they saw the cat, they scurried underneath the house, and the cat walked around like a master and a watchman. He would rub his head against our legs, asking for gratitude as he left locks of his red fur on our trousers. We changed his name from Burglar to Cop, although my friend Revum maintained that this was not a nice thing to do. We were sure, however, that the police would not mind.